Okay, y'all, let's get straight into it today. I got some news for y'all. White Castle has hired 100 robots to do the deep fryer position. Yes, they have hired 100 robots. Basically, that's 100 people being replaced with 1,000 different jobs being done by robots. Okay, 100 robots they have hired. That's number one. Other than the fact is that these robots, okay, taking jobs from you and people like me, let's get into the fact is that robots, they don't need days off. Robots, they don't get paid days off. Robots, they don't need vacations. Robots, they don't get sick days, need sick days, or any of the other things that humans may need that come with filling a job position. So if they took in 100 robots, right, to do the deep fryer position, that's just the trial run for them to put robots in any other job place that they have out there, and they basically deplete jobs for people like us that need them to provide for our families. First of all, let's get into the fact they will be paying $3,000 per robot a month. You heard me. $3,000 a month per robot to fill a human's position. So now you mean to tell me you gonna, I mean, in the back end for them, I guess it's cheaper, but in the beginning, just hear how that sounds. They're willing to pay $3,000 a month for a robot to replace a human and pay more for the robot than they're paying most humans. They don't have to give a robot pension. Okay? If a robot break down, they buy another one to replace it. That's crazy. That's crazy. So on top of everything going up around us, gas, food, cost of living, period, now we're being replaced by robots, being put in the job place. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. We need to really be scared, put out some type of petitions to not allow these people to be able to go forth with that. Because if they're able to put robots in White Castle to replace humans, what's next? What's next? It's crazy. I don't need that. That took me over when I read that story. I had to bring that to y'all, because do you know what that means for us? Other than more poverty, that's what it means. That's what they're putting us in. They're raising prices and replacing humans. How could that be possible? How could that be all right? And whoever signed for it, they need to be crucified, because at the end of the day, if there's no workplace for people to go into and make money, how are we supposed to support our families? Everybody is not self-sufficient where they're working for themselves. They depend on their job. So now if they being replaced at their job, what do they have to look forward to be able to produce money? That's why crime is at an all-time high. Just like I said in my story the other day, you're putting regular people like you and me in positions to have to worry and find other ways to provide. And when the ways of providing become limited, that makes people go into a different type of mind state, because you're not going to be hungry but for so long. Your kids are not going to go without but for so long. So that puts your mind in position to say, okay, I tried this lane. It did not work. Now let me try this lane. That's why you see people breaking into jewelry stores and supermarkets. And like I said, I don't even think half of the people that's stealing from them supermarkets is to sell. It's to support their families, to actually survive. This is how I gotta feed my family tonight. And if I gotta take the risk of going in the store to steal a slab of meat, then so be it. At least I attempted, but me sitting here doing nothing while I'm being replaced by a robot, that's not gonna happen. Oh my goodness. Like that terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I'm telling you. They say count the days, but we know what days these are. Serious, and it's seeming like the last. If you ask me, that's my opinion. Mine. I don't know if you see the same things that I'm seeing. Look at the weather in California. Okay? People might be distracted by other things, but we got real things that we're dealing with. We're being replaced in the job place. Okay? Food is at an all-time high. Gas is at an all-time high. Weather conditions are shit right now. People are losing their lives at an all-time high in California right now. Mudslides, water, like winds. It's terrible. If you haven't tuned in to see what's going on and them people are dealing with, you really should. Because what's affecting them could be our situation today or tomorrow. We're no different. Places that don't even receive or get snow. Las Vegas has snow right now. I remember when people, just a couple of months ago, in the early days of December, people were going and taking their children to places that had artificial snow just so they could get the feel of what people like me and maybe you, or if you live in New York or anywhere that deals with cold weather, you know, have the pleasure of seeing snow during Christmas. So for now, that to go by and it's actually snow? No, it's terrible. It is terrible out here, the things that we are dealing with. I'm sorry, you guys. Have y'all actually, on top of that, let me get into my next story because this is scary. Okay, passengers were stuck on an Amtrak train for over 29 hours. Okay? Not because the train broke down. No, these people were calling into the police to let them know they were being held hostage. Do you see what I'm saying? All of the things that I just talked about is things that lead to things like this. Okay? People start finding ways to live off the land and regular people like you and me. When people are being held up on a train for over 29 hours and their life is at risk because they're being held hostage, it's crazy. You can't even travel in peace. Let me get on to my next story. Because these two is getting on my nerves. They getting on my nerves. They getting on my nerves, my last nerve, my first nerve, my middle nerve, and any other nerve that I might have in my body. Because people are watching these two at an all-time high, but they're at an all-time low. And I'm talking about Blueface and Krishan Rock. Okay, people were posting, reposting in the beginning the little situations that they were getting into, but now they're fueling and feeding off of negativity. And somebody is going to really end up hurt. And then when that happens, and the video is put on social media, and it says that someone has lost their life, it's not going to be so cute anymore. This girl bust this boy in the back of the head with a Hennessy bottle. Okay? And then, on top of busting him in the head with the bottle, let's get into the fact is that sis got tweezers in a Tupperware bowl, yes, to sit there and pick the pieces of glass out the back of this man's head. While he laid there looking just as sad. Because you can say someone is narcissistic. You can say someone is an antagonizer. But it's also up to you as a person to sit there and deal with it. You don't have to make the decision to become, violent. Because becoming violent, how does that change the situation? You can't control what comes out of another person's mouth. So if you beat them senseless and they're still able to wake up and speak again, that's not going to stop them from saying what they said to get them knocked out in the first place. They just was knocked out. So every time a person says something that you don't like, you're going to find a way to put hand, feet, and bottles on them? This is not the way I think Hennessy wanted to be endorsed. I really don't. But if anybody around them really care about them, okay, because even Whack 100 said it, and I hate to even put him in anything, all right? But this is my opinion. Negativity may bring a couple of likes, and it also may bring a couple of dollars, but then after a while, brands want to start steering away from that. They don't want to be a part of something that might end up being a tragic situation. And if she got sisters, which we know because she's a child of 12, from a family of 12, so she has siblings that need, and we seen on the show, yeah, they went to defend her and XYZ and so what and so forth. Like I said, so what and so forth. Because then when your sister accidentally ends up dead, what are you going to be doing? On the internet saying we told her to get out? No.
Lattes were A.